when you first look at this bike, at least for me, the first thing I think of is BMX. It's got the 24 by 3-inch wheels. It's got that rigid frame. It's got the BMX style handlebars. It just screams style. They do come in some really cool colors too. I don't know why I got the white one. This is like the most boring one. They have some really, really cool colors that I actually enjoy a lot. We have a 750 watt rear hub motor. You'll notice it's quite big, and I don't know the brand. Yeah, even on their website, it doesn't tell us what kind of brand that motor is. Same thing with the battery. There's no brand on the battery. They do claim that it's UL certified, but the battery is a 48 volt, 15 amp hour battery. So that's pretty decent. You're going to probably expect, close to 40, 50 miles on a charge, depending on how much pedaling you're actually doing. Now we know bikes like this with these banana seats, they're not really ideal for pedaling, and I'll get into that here shortly. As for the brakes, we have pretty standard Tektro hydraulic disc brakes with brake inhibitors. What I've been noticing about these new brake inhibitors is that they have the detachable inhibitor at the top, which is kind of an interesting feature. We have front and rear integrated lights. As far as I know, as of right now, all of the Soleil e-bikes are all single speed with a 46 to 18 gear ratio. It's actually decent, but once you get over 20 miles an hour, there's basically no pedaling to be done anymore. Other than that, this bike is very, very simple. There's not a lot to it. Similar to the Super 73, it's got an undercarriage battery, which has its pros and cons. We'll get into that. But also, its controller is also exposed here in the back. Now we're going to take a look at the handlebars here. Some decent grips, nothing too crazy. On our display here, it's pretty minimalist, as you can tell. We have our battery life, our speed, and we have our assistance level. Now we can go in here and see our odometer, our trip, ride time, all that good stuff. The rear wheel setup, pretty basic. We have the 18 millimeter nuts, and we have this basically this lock washer. We adjust the chain tension, and that's what this guy does basically. On the other side, it's just a simple unplug of the motor wire, which is nice and easy. Very easy access to the brakes, all standard brake components, so that's pretty nice. Also, something to note is that all of the wires are run externally, so if you ever need to get into this bad boy, it's not too hard, but you will probably have to flip the bike upside down. Electric Bikes and Flex, this is Luke. Very creepy. Anyway, quality of components. Now, there's nothing special or spectacular to brag about on this bike. All the components are fairly common, which has its pros and cons. Pros being you can source them anywhere. Amazon, Temu, eBay, I mean, you name it. You're not restricted to just buying from Soleil. The downside is that they're not the most reliable. Overall, I'd say the quality of parts is about middle line, but decent. It is cold and super windy today, so the ride's going to be pretty short. In terms of ride quality, the bike, just like any long-seated bike, the biggest problem is pedaling. You can't really pedal this bike. I'm 6 feet tall, and if you're going to buy this bike, the seat will sit on your thighs, like on the outside of your thighs. You'll feel it almost like it's sticking out. So the seat is not super comfortable. I think something that they could do is like round off the edges of the seat and the styrofoam, so that way the corners and the edges of the seat aren't digging into your thighs while you ride the whole time. I probably couldn't ride this bike for more than 20 minutes at a time, if I'm being completely honest with you. At the top of my pedal, my knee is here. The pedal assist, the cadence sensor that this has is pretty wacky. It surges quite easily. But again, this bike's really not made to pedal. It's made to throttle, and that's why it's got such a big motor on it. Other than that, brake's great. Wheel size, I think, is the perfect size for this bike. It's so easy just to go and cruise on. It's very smooth, just kind of riding around the streets. It tops out at about 20 miles an hour. So if you're wanting a bike to pedal, this is probably not the bike that you want. If you want a bike to just go cruise around on and throttle all the time, that's all you, my friend. But if you don't know the dangers of just throttling the whole time, then you should go watch other videos on my YouTube because I talk about that quite a bit. The biggest complaint I have about this bike is the stupid kickstand. If you have a kickstand that is in the middle like this, you can't back the bike up. Now we're going to take a look at customer service, quality of the company, how long they've been around, stuff like that. Because it's a lot more important than you think. If something goes wrong with your bike and you need support and you need service, you're going to be screwed. You know, looking at their website, what I noticed about Soleil is that they are just a normal bike company first. And then the E24 looks like it's been a decent seller for them. Right now the bike's $1,800, which I think is a little steep. You know, there's like brands like MacFox and Ride One Up who offer the same kind of frame style, same bike essentially, but more stuff for cheaper than this. The one thing that they do have is they have a really cool brand and they have like really cool colors. Like I love the way that these bikes look. There's really not a whole lot of information on their company, like who they are, where they're shipping from, where they're making it from. But they do have like this consistent style. And I think that's what draws people into this brand more than anything else. There's not a ton of reviews. So I think my overall impression is that it's really the best thing about this bike is its style. Stylish comfort cruisers, perfect for like where they're made in California, and simplicity of use. The price point is still much better than what we see on Super 73. I think if it had a little bit more knobby tires, which you could add, you can basically make this bike a Super 73. This is not the kind of bike that I would take off-road by any means. It's also not the kind of bike that I would travel with. It's the kind of bike you keep in your garage and you go cruise around on it because it's fun. Let me know what you guys think. Again, completely honest shop owner review. Make sure you like and subscribe. We're trying to grow this channel, start to do other things. It would mean a lot.